Hello everybody, how's it going today? Glowplasma here to about Kagurabachi chapter number 104. This chapter is titled, quote, Heroes. Yeah, we got two quotation marks around the heroes because, we don't know. Are they heroes? Are they villains? Or are they the rare anti-hero? Oh my gosh, I guess we'll figure out here in this chapter of Kagurabachi. But of course, as many of you probably know, I am currently behind on Kagurabachi chapters, so I'm not really going to waste any time blabbing and rambling on. I just wanted to talk about this great old chapter of Kagurabachi. And of course, before we can do this, we need to mention what happened last time in Kagurabachi, which was very simply, we had this chapter really all about the Shinichi's ability being to manipulate vitality, steal it from things, and then sort of give it to its wielder. And being that Yura is currently using the Shinichi, he's not very tapped into that power like Soga Akemura is, but he is along with that power enough sort of to be able to wield it pretty much. And the whole idea is being that the spirit energy that is coursing through his body right now is that is foreign to him. Well, Suzaku takes out foreign objects and heals the body to how it should be, how the body is functioning as is. So the whole plan is hey, let's use Suzaku, Chihiro is fighting Yura while Sombra's sort of trying to back up here to eventually have this whole idea of, okay, yeah, we're going to pretty much burn the Shinichi out of Yura. And that's where we ended last chapter of Kagurabachi. And we start off this chapter with a flashback, which is always cool whenever you just start off a chapter and oh, hey, we got a little bit of a flashback. And honestly, it's a very interesting one because we start off with Yura and presumably his wife. We say this because we see that she has a wedding ring on her ring finger, or what I at least am guessing to be. I'm using my comprehension skills and guessing it's a wedding ring. It seems to have a shining diamond there, so it's probably a wedding ring, right? And as we see that Yura's wife is sort of raising her hand up in the air to where we can see the wedding ring on her finger, we see that she's hey, Yura, is it ready yet? It smells amazing over there, dear. And Yura's hey, almost, just hang on, as we see that he's got his chopstick in his hand, is moving around all of the food in the pan, just turning it all up and over and all of that various stuff. And as the two of them are sort of just hanging out and talking, we see there's a little radio here in the room. And the radio is, of course, on a broadcast where we just see it's some informative news show or something like that. Or at least it's one of those news minutes that exist in the world. I actually had to read one of those for a class assignment earlier today, being that I am a broadcasting major. So that's always pretty cool and fun. But either way, the radio is just reading. As we approach 1 month since the end of the war, efforts are underway to rebuild the war-torn area step by step. Praying for peace, mastered swordsmith Kurashige Rokuhira vows to enshrine the blades. As we see that Yura's wife is just sort of looking over at him longingly at the table, and she's it's so weird. I just can't believe that things are just back to normal, just like that. I mean, it's really all thanks to the war heroes. And Yura's yeah, I know, right? As in this moment, we now cut back into the Kabunabi headquarters, where we see that Soga Akemura is standing here in his sort of prison here in the moment. And he's oh, these must be Yura's memories. As of course he remembers what Yura said earlier of that day I saw the right answer. I approve of the male diction. As Akemura just thinks, he must have lived in an area that was ravaged by the war. As we cut back into the Yura flashback once more, as Yura just says, well, it's fine. From now on, we can rest easy, knowing that they'll protect this country and all of us. As we just see his wife is over in the background oh my gosh, I'm dying, I'm so hungry, hurry it up, Yura. And Yura's all right, just a minute. As we just fade to black. As we reopen in the sky above Tokyo, Chihiro is pierced Yura through, or at least pierced through his shoulder or something like that, and Suzaku is enveloping the both of them, burning away and returning them to their initial states pretty much. As we get to chapter title 104, Heroes, in quotation marks, right? As we also just get some narration explaining. Only the Shinichi has a unique ability to transcend its eternal contract, allowing another someone not contracted to the sword to wield just the very tip of its powers. The price they pay is that it consumes their body. We know this from the way the storehouse was collapsing on that day, that it exhausts spirit energy of whoever governs that sorcery. To draw forth more of the Shinichi's powers, it forcibly alters the user's body. As a result, the more the body is consumed, the greater the power it can command. The flames of Suzaku repair that ravaged nervous system. As we get a little bit of a close-up here in the moment of Yura's face, as we sort of like the blackness around his eyes is sort of like enveloping, like showing the Shinichi encroaching upon him. It's sort of like burning away as we just see like his pupil a little bit more, and a little bit of the white underneath his left eye here in the moment. As Chihiro just says, lies. As of course, you remember whenever Yura said that they were going to bring order to this world. And Chihiro just says, the Hishaku were behind all of it. It's all your fault. You call this the greater good? Let go the enchanted blade, as they are just tumbling down towards the ground. As Yura starts to maneuver a little bit, right? Starts to like rearrange his body, pushing back on Chihiro's strike, as he just says, we only made the minimum sacrifices necessary to wield the Shinichi. You think this is the Hishaku's fault? The world's hardly any different from before we began our crusade. The Rakuzaichi was operating for far longer. The Rakuzaichi was at the forefront of numerous illicit organizations that preyed on the defenseless. And after the war, when sorcerers became a visible presence in society, their activities further intensified. It was after the war. For years, people everywhere exploited and victimized. It was beyond the Kabunabi's control. Human beings can only do so much. As Chihiro and Yura, who landed on a building during that speech, now fall off the top, plummeting towards the ground, as Yura just starts to talk some more. But with the enchanted blades, with the Shinichi, everything could have been different. The Hishaku's fault? Who sealed away the enchanted blades? Who held the means of eradicating evil and just disappeared? Your father made the world like this. As Yura is screaming in the moment, as we just get a brief panel of a girl with white hair and a wedding ring on her finger, laying bloodied and beaten here in the moment. Of course, it seems that Yura's wife passed away due to some sorcerer-related incident after Kunishige locked all of the blades away, not wanting to repeat anything with the Swordmaster's malediction. And here in the moment, Chihiro just looks wide-eyed at Yura. He's staring at him, almost seeing a new perspective of his biggest enemy here in the moment. And even all the way down into Kabunabi headquarters, Soga is just looking up. As Yura, these thorns, these brambles, these plants start to sprout out more around his body, and the iconography of the centipede just appears here in the moment. And Chihiro barely has enough time to try to get out of the way before it just fires off here in the moment, and Chihiro is now crashed into the top of a building, and Yura is on another building a few floors down across this street. And from Yura's position, he just sticks the Shinichi in the ground, or at least holds it in its scabbard there, as the blade just goes, and it sprouts flowers of the malediction everywhere here in the moment. And Chihiro just sees all this and thinks, like, it's consuming him even more intensely. And at that point, Chihiro also remembers some words from the Rakuzaichi that Kiora said. Today, that other time, I feel another presence. It must be the Sword Master. As Chihiro just thinks, whether the Sword Master uses the Shinichi's power or completely devours Yura's body, or whether Suzaku restores the body and expels the Shinichi's encroachment, hangs in the balance of a tug of war. As of course, Chihiro remembers those final moments of Kiora as well. Kiora contained it by sheer force of will. In other words, we never saw the full extent of how it could have consumed him. As here in the moment, Chihiro's like, no matter, I have to stop it. As he raises up Inten to Nishiki cloaking the blade, as he declares Akatsuki, Suzaku. And of course, here in the moment, the flames of mercy start to go around and wrap around, cloaking his body in the fire. And as he leaps off from his perch in the building, Yura leaps up from his perch as well, as the two go to strike each other here in the moment. And Yura, for as well as he's been doing, he can't quite make it there, as Chihiro, with his height advantage, plunges the sword down straight into Yura's left shoulder, as Yura's holding the blade pretty much right at Chihiro's neck, but a sheathed blade isn't doing much in this moment. Chihiro goes through and slices it up, cutting Yura from that piercing in the left shoulder all the way up right to his actual shoulder right beside his neck, and he falls down to the ground, losing track of the Shiruchi here in the process as it thuds down into the ground, and Chihiro dodges out of the way as Yura's body smolders in a little bit of a crater. And Chihiro just thinks, last time Samura cast the flames and I merely ignited them. This time I stacked it with my Aka. With a double Suzaku from both of us. As we just see Yura's body is burning here in the moment, and Chihiro just thinks, that means it's over. And Yura's body just consumed by the fire. But the Magatsumi, of course, still has a will of its own. And crackling its dark energy from over where it's impaled into the ground, Chihiro is not even paying attention to it. He's just paying attention to Yura, who's almost burning alive here in the moment. As Yura's just like, no, not yet, no, we need. And he's just thinking, of course, to whenever Soga asks him, who are you? And he just thinks of a quick response. We were nobody. But we were nobody. As in the moment, Yura just declares, we needed a hero. As down in the depths of the Kabunabi headquarters, the Sword Master just says, relax, I'll give you your body back, hand it all over to me. I understand the situation very well. I'll be your hero. As in the moment, Yura just closes his eyes and lets this encroachment take him over, as we see his eyes are consumed once more by the pale black, almost tar-looking energy of the Shinuchi, as thorns and brambles wrap around the sword itself, as Yura's body starts to float up into the air, almost extinguishing the flames of Suzaku, as flowers just start to rise out of Yura's body, as Chihiro's like, no, it's just getting stronger. And as this happens, the Shinuchi impaled into the ground starts to rise out of its scabbard. And on that note, we end chapter number 104 of Kagurabachi, titled Heroes. This chapter was just absolutely incredible the entire way through. Really, I honestly do find it hard to find complaints with Kagurabachi chapters, but especially knowing what happens next in the series and what really happens in the next 4 chapters that at least have been released at the point of me recording this video. This chapter is amazing in almost every single way. Not only seeing Yura's backstory, but how it works into this idea of like, I was a nobody. We, the Hishaku, were nobodies. But we were all in service to a singular hero, somebody who we looked up to, not the villain that we think is Kunishige Rokuhira. And speaking of like the whole thing of like Kunishige's ideals, the whole time that Chihiro is standing here having to realize what Yura not only thinks of his father, but also just that dying like, hey, no matter what, I have to stop the encroachment here. Like, there's no other way around it pretty much. Until eventually, Chihiro, like, he beats Yura in the moment. Like, that's what happens. But of course, being this is a shonen battle manga, Yura is not dying here in the moment. There has to be another thing that happens. And of course, that thing is alongside of, oh, Soga is coming to the battlefield, getting ready to wield the Magatsumi to fight both Chihiro and Samura, who we actually do not see in this chapter, you know? I mean, last time, let me actually go open up last chapter, number 103 here in the moment. But I'm pretty sure the last thing we saw of Samura was I think he was still in the train car maybe, but I'm going to go and clarify this not only for myself, but for you audience at home, if the chapter will load. Okay, yeah, here we go. The whole thing was like, yeah, Samura cloaked the entirety of the train car, raised it up into the sky, but of course couldn't move and got hit by the dragonfly, pretty much blowing off his arm here in the moment. And of course, the whole idea of like, I forget if this is something that we learn later on or that we know right now, like Samura can't heal himself. He can really only keep up Suzaku on Yura or Akemura, as we will know in sooner chapters. Like, he's not doing too well, but of course, once it goes up to the train car, that's when Chihiro comes and says like, hey, Yura, you're dealing with me pretty much. So yeah, we've not seen Samura since that moment, the last chapter, but Samura is still all right. He will be fine, and he will be in the next chapter, I'm pretty sure, where we will see a very interesting panel of him getting maybe sliced in half, maybe not. But let me stop with all of the spoilers there. If you did enjoy this video on Kagurabachi chapter number 104, I have been covering this series since chapter number 45. Granted, that video, or no, chapter number 44, my bad. Granted, those early videos aren't really that good, but still, if you want to hear my thoughts of, like, 2 years ago in Kagurabachi, you can go, or, like, a year ago, my bad. Like, it hasn't been 2 years. Like, you know, it's been, like, a year and a half, maybe. I think I started those in, like, September, so, like, yeah, or, like, August. It's been, like, over 12 months. Well, let's just settle with that one there. And, yeah. If you enjoyed the videos, that playlist will be in the description box of this video and on the end card of this video as well. And if you did enjoy the video, leave me a comment. Let me know what you liked about it. Let me know if you like my new background things I've got going on. I'm trying to, like, innovate the channel, you know. And yeah, subscribe to all of that very cool stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time for Kagurabachi chapter number 104. Again, this is chapter number 104, titled Heroes. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Dude, I want to see more of Yura's wife, and also him just, like, whenever he was happy in life and not, like, sad and depressed, because, like, happy Yura is a happy guy, and I one day want to be like happy Yura. Just a happy guy. Yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. This is Glowplasma signing out.